This is Module 3, Lesson 3. We're talking about designing a patient-centric practice layout. All those P's in there, everybody. So let's talk about reception and first impressions, because when someone comes in, that's where they're going to see first off. So how can you make a waiting room inviting, but they don't feel like they're going to be stuck there forever?
Yeah, I think that's great. So you have to balance the size of it first, the size and scope. And what we realized after COVID, we don't need these huge waiting rooms anymore. First of all, they shouldn't be in your waiting room long, right?
Yeah.
You should get them back. And then get them out, right? Because no one wants to just sit in your office.
No.
That's not their thing that they want to do today. But the reality of it is you want to have like common conveniences. You want to have a beverage station. Even if they don't have enough time to get the drinks, you want to have it there so it looks like you're providing another service, right? Same thing with comfortable seating. Like, you don't need the cheapest chairs in the world. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that you need to go buy a $10,000 chair that massages them. That's great, but you don't have to do that. Get something that's comfortable, something that the aesthetic blends with your practice and what your why is. And then if you're seeing kids, make something that can kind of distract the kids a little bit, just while they wait. You know, kids don't have a huge attention span, so you want to make sure that you are leaning into those things.
Yeah, and if your system is really well oiled, like getting them checked in and then before they're even comfortable in the seat, getting them back.
Yep.
That's how you really want that kind of settling in there, because it's like, hey, oh, you saw the drink station, but you never got a drink. And that's okay.
That's
because, man, I didn't have to sit there for 2 hours
That's
and wait on whatever doctor it is or the, clinical assistant or anything like that. I think that's huge.
Yeah, I find that in the medical world, like when I go to the doctor, I'm in the waiting room for an extremely long period of time, and that doesn't make sense. I have an appointment at this time.
Yep.
It is now this time. Let's get them back. So my policy at my office is if they're there for 5 minutes before and we don't have anything to do, get them back.
Yeah.
Right. Even 10 minutes before, get them back. Anything other than that, it can kind of throw off the schedule, but get them back. Just get them back and get them moving on with their day.
You're trying to make them feel like the priority. So let's talk about consultation rooms. I think this is another thing of setting the stage. This is where you're bringing someone in.
Yep.
They're getting the spiel, essentially. What are some things to help keep the consultation room quiet and private?
Yeah, so one, you got to have it closed off. It's got to be private. You've got to have a door. You've got to have, now if you want natural light in there, that's fine. I love natural light. I think it's something that you need to have. And then you want to make sure that it's kind of soundproof. It doesn't have to be studio quality soundproof, but you don't want to hear drills in the back. You don't want to hear, if you have kids crying, you don't want to hear those things, because that's just a deterrent for someone to start. If they think that everybody in the back is getting tortured, that's not a good look. You also want to make it where it's a very relaxed standpoint. So you want to have this, it wants to smell good. It needs to smell good. It needs to have some low music that keeps people calm, because you're trying to get them to the yes.
Yes.
Right? So everything should be geared toward that and that patient getting to the yes.
Yeah, so you're hitting several of the senses. You're hitting the olfactory, you're hitting auditory, you're hitting kinesthetic. You're getting them then to that like peaceful kind of, where their guard is coming down. Like, you're not doing it to like, I got you, but it's like you're trying to get them where their crocodile brain goes away and that can actually make a good informed decision.
That's right. And I think just another little caveat, if you can maybe take the dental chair out of that area, I know it makes sense, but like, for instance, in my office, we have a traditional chair that reclines. It's a nice accent chair, it just reclines. So if I need to lean them back, great. Typically, we can do all that stuff without leaning them back because we got, pictures and scans and stuff, so we don't have to do that. But you got to remember to make it as least dental as you possibly can.
The less invasive, the less that you're trying to talk into that like dental field, you're going to be in a much better position. So let's talk about treatment area. I know we could talk about TC and all of that, but let's talk about treatment area. Why do so many offices like use an open bay layout?
I think the open bay is just really good for efficiency. The doctor can have multiple patients going at the same time. The doctor can kind of bounce back and forth. And I also think it builds a sense of community, right? You see that this person's getting treatment. You see that this person's getting treatment. So it kind of motivates them internally, even if they don't notice that. But I do think it's important to have at least 1 or 2 private rooms.
Why would you have 1 or 2 private rooms?
You need those private rooms for those longer appointments. Maybe if you have some people that are a little bit more anxious, or you have some adults, if you're working in more of a kid-friendly place, that's a good place to put your older patients. Some of those, again, longer appointments, you may want to put them in there.
So let's talk about staff efficiency. What layout choices help your team move faster and stay organized?
When you start to look at it from a floor plan situation, you want to make sure that your sterilization is centrally located, something that's easy for them to get in and out of. They don't have to walk down long halls. If you're going to have an in-office lab, you want to make sure that it's accessible too. So we like to say that we have a front of stage. So that's all the places that the patients are normally at. And then we have a back part, right? And the back part is more where we're at. The patients don't see that. That's where the break room and things like that are. Because, having a break room is not always a necessity. Did you know that? You don't have to have a break room in some states. But not having a break room can kind of bring down morale.
Okay, so let's hit that just real quick.
Yeah.
Why is it important?
So having a break room it gives the team a place that they can go and they can kind of let their guard down just a little bit, right? So it gives them a place that they can have lunch, but also a place before work they can put their stuff down and feel like this is their home. And you need a space, right? You need a space to decompress, and I think sometimes it's a good and easy place to have it.
So let's talk about technology and future-proofing. What tech should you plan for even if you don't use it yet?
First thing is you want to make sure you have a good Wi-Fi signal everywhere. I mean, it seems so basic now, but the reality of it is if you don't, it makes it really inconvenient for everyone. You want to try to make sure that if you have TVs, you have TVs strategically located throughout the office. And really what you're trying to do is you're not trying to distract them per se, but you're trying to just add to the experience. Everything should be experience-based. Yes, your goal is to get them in and out. But if you can have these little nice things as they're going through the process, it makes it so much better.
One thing I think to consider is like if you have like a little kind of like where your records, you're getting x-rays and all of that, you might only have one machine right now, but make a little bit bigger or whatever, having that plan where it's like, when I can't afford this, I'm going to get another or get something else that I need in this area.
Yeah, I think that's really great. What we did is we started off with 4 dental chairs. It's plumbed for 6, right? So we can easily expand if we need to. And I think that most practices should do that. It doesn't cost a lot more to do that, but it allows you to future-proof your place.
Yeah, always thinking about that goal in mind, where you want to be in the next 5 years. So let's talk about some design and branding tips, and let's talk about lighting and colors. Like, how can that help differentiate different parts of the practice and help with the feel?
Yeah, so whenever you're in the open bay, it needs to kind of be a little bit more bright in there, right? But if you're in the non-clinical areas like the treatment coordinating room or the reception area, you want to keep it soft and maybe lower those lights just a little bit. As far as the colors in general, if you think about colors, we want to keep it something that's light and airy. You don't ever want to feel like it's closing in on people because if it does, typically they close in too. Yep. And so you want them to have this open posture. You want to have these open conversations with them. So you want to make sure that anything that you do kind of aligns with that narrative.
Yeah, and you could go with like the treatment room, you're wanting it inviting, you could do a little bit warmer light in there to make it feel more homey or something like that.
That's right. And if you can get lamps, taking the lights from the ceiling down.
Yeah, take the big light out.
That's right. It helps a lot. And people subconsciously don't even realize that they relax whenever that happens.
One thing I think is showing off your brand within your office.
You got to show off your brand. You got to show off your brand with signage, logos in your office, but then also your team. Your team has to represent the brand too, right? They're basically a talking brand advertisement. So you want to make sure that the uniforms look really nice. I do like name tags. I think it makes it more personable for the new people coming in. They're like, oh, that's Ashley. Oh, that's Fabiola, right? So those things are really nice. But then Also, you want to make sure that they're starting to recognize your logo, your branding with excellence and a great experience. And so you're planting those seeds early on.
So why should you hire an architect or a interior designer for your office space?
Yeah, so you've got it. Just takes the complexity out of it. Like, these people have done it before. They know the spatial arrangement. They know how much room you actually need. And so you don't get in these weird situations where you don't have enough room, you're bumping into one another. But then also, if you hire an interior designer, they can figure out ways to soften those lights. They can figure out ways to add textures and put layers to this thing where it doesn't feel sterile. And it's really important to think about all of those sensory issues, right? We want to make sure that it smells good, it sounds good, it feels good, the temperature is correct, right? So, your temperature is a little different than mine, but we want to find that happy medium. And I think that interior designers and architects are really good at helping you with all those things, and it makes it way quicker too.
And you're not having to worry about codes and making sure you're following all of that, because that's their job.
That's right. They got it. And dude, they can do it so quick, and they can source it. And I know as a startup, you're going to want to try to do it, but just hire somebody.
Well, there you go. That is module 3, everybody. We'll see you in module 4.